Hi guys, TrainBlade190 here, and this is not a Rust video. This is an update video, and I just kind of wanted to share this about my life right now to make more people aware that this happens daily. Me and my family rescued a dog yesterday. My dad found her near his work. He was coming to a gas station and he gets off at the interstate to go to his exit, and he saw this dog coming up off of the off-ramp, and she would take a couple steps and she would fall over. And so when he went into the gas station, she had made her way there slowly. He was trying to coax her with sandwiches, and she would not come to him. He figured that she might have been abused because she didn't really like people at all. But she was going around trying to get food, and she would try to run away from people, but she would keep falling over. He finally got to the point where she would eat some of the food that he put down. He was able to pick her up and put her in his truck. Her tail was tucked. She was so frightened she would cower in the corner of his truck. And then he realized that maybe it was what he was wearing, because she wasn't that scared of the other people. So he took off his light blue jacket, and then she was fine. She was totally fine with him touching her and petting her. And so he thought she might have been abused by someone who was wearing light blue clothes, and that they just dumped her. So we went up to my father's work and we saw her. It was a really hot day, and we're like, we can't wait for a decision for someone to take her home, because we already have a dog and we weren't ready for another dog. So we were like, we have to get her to the vet. She is severely emaciated, severely dehydrated. We have to get her to the vet. So me and my mom, we took her to the vet, and we went into the room. They're like, okay, so this is your first interaction with this dog. Like, okay, the vet's gonna see you here in a little bit. And my other dog's barking in the background, I'm sorry. So we went into the room. You know, the vet was ready to see us. The vet came in the room, and this is a man. And before, we dealt with all women in the vet office, and she was fine. She was loving all the ladies that were there. But when our vet, the man, came into the office, he was wearing light blue clothes, and he was a guy. And she started growling. She started cowering in a corner. So she was obviously abused by a man in light blue clothing. So we're talking with him. He's like, well, I'm gonna have to put a muzzle on her just in case, because this is our first interaction with her. So we held her down and got a muzzle on her, and he was checking her out. He couldn't pull a blood sample from her. He tried 3 times to get it out of one leg. Just wouldn't work. So he tried the other one. He barely got what he did from the other leg. He checked her ears. He said, well, she's all full of earmites. And then when we tried to get a stool sample from her, he went in there and he's like, well, she's been eating all sorts of junk in here, and he got a stool sample. However, the vet assistant came back to the room and said, did this stool sample come from this room? And we're like, yes. And she said, well, this is not a stool sample, this is a rock. She was starving so much that she was eating rocks, and that's just, it's really, really upsetting. And he said, well, I knew she was eating some kind of drugs. I didn't expect rocks, though. So we had to hold her down so he could try and get another stool sample. He said, we're gonna leave her here overnight, you know, just get some scans done, make sure she's okay. And he was gonna have us leave, and he was gonna sedate her, but she was so scared of him. And he's like, well, I want you guys to hold her down so I could go out and sedate her. So that happened. So we picked her up from the vet today. The vet said she is heartworm negative, which is really great. She's also intestinal worm negative, which is fantastic. She's been peeing, but she hadn't pooped yet, which is kind of iffy. So we were going to keep her only if she got along with her other dog, and our dog liked her and got along well. So we brought them here. We sat down on the floor with both of the dogs, separated. They're sniffing each other. You know, he barked, of course. He's a very hyper dog. He's a Jack Chi, which is a Jack Russell and Chihuahua mix. And everything was fine. They're getting along great. She did bark at him once because we were feeding her, and he came up and he sniffed her. But you know, we did rectify that. I helped our other dog, Sammy. I was like, it's okay, Sammy. He was a little bit skittish, but he warmed back up to her and started sniffing her again with his tail up and wagging. The only reason why she did that is because, you know, she's starving. She thinks people are going to steal her food away from her. That, you know, she's going to go hungry again. And I know that's going to take, you know, a while for her to get over that because she is starving. She has been without food for a really long time, and she thought she was going to go hungry again. But other than that, what's been going on now, she's gotten really, really attached to me. I think I'm mom. I think I am mom to her. She keeps whining when I walk out of the room. She keeps following me around. Our other dog, you know, is barking at her when she gets too close to my mom or dad. No growling, no growling. He just kind of barks at her like, hey, those are my people. Those are the people I get to love on, and they get to love on me. And he's a very jealous dog. So far they haven't tried to nip at each other. He's only barked at her, and she's barked once. It'll take a couple days for them to acclimate to each other. Well, we're still sure we're gonna keep her, but we're gonna wait a couple of days just to make sure. You know, she's a very docile dog. I mean, that was the only time she barked was when she thought her food was getting taken away by another animal. That's the only time she's barked. She's only whined when I walked away. She's very calm. She's very gentle, and we're gonna make sure she has a fighting chance in this world. We have to put weight on her. She's 20 pounds underweight. She only weighs 31.5 pounds right now. And the vet said she's around 7 to 8 months old. Lab mix, and she needs to be, you know, she's way underweight, so we're gonna help her with that. But I just wanted to make this update video. I know it's really long, and I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to say, if you have an animal rescue near you and you find a dog who's in need of help, please consider stopping and helping that animal, because they did not choose to be, you know, homeless or starving to the point where they're eating rocks or where they're about to die because they're starving, and because, you know, they didn't choose that life. Sometimes, you know, that life was forced upon them because their owners didn't want them anymore, or they couldn't keep up with them. So if you have a rescue who doesn't put down animals, please consider bringing them in there. There are people out there who will help them, okay? But anyways, before I get too emotional, I'm gonna get off of here, and I hope you guys are having a great morning, evening, afternoon, or night, wherever you are in the world, and I will be posting another Rust video here in a couple days. We just gotta make sure everything's working out with our dogs. Okay guys, bye!